Organized by Calcutta Business School's Center of Excellence. The topic is strategic sourcing, key decisions in the 21st century. We have two great panelists today, and I shall be introducing them shortly. I warmly welcome our core committee members, Mr. Saurabh Ghosh, Advisor, Shiksha Foundation, our Secretary General, Mrs. Brotati Bhattacharya, Principal, Dr. Shuman Kumar Daw, the moderator for the day, Dr. P.R. Bhattacharya, and all professors, students, and participants present today. Before we start, let me show you a short video about Calcutta Business School and its connection with Shiksha Foundation, the sixth body of Calcutta Business School, which is celebrating 101 years of educational excellence. May we have the video, please?
If excelling is your essence, then you are welcome to Calcutta Business School. Center of Excellence, centered on excellence.
It all started in the year 1920 when some eminent industrialists of Kolkata founded the Marwari Balika Vidyalaya. Later, in 1954, Sri Shiksha School was founded, and in 1955 Sri Shiksha College came into being with the objective of further propagating quality education to girls. All these institutions have continued to excel under the management of the Shiksha Foundation.
It has been guided by industrialists like President Mr. S.K. Birla, Director Emeritus, Birla Brothers Private Limited, Mr. Siddharth Birla, Vice President, Mr. G.K. Khaitan, Trustee and President of Shiksha College, Mr. R.S. Goenka, Trustee and MD of Imami Group, and many other reputed industrialists. The Secretary General of the Foundation is Mrs. Brotati Bhattacharya.
Greetings. I would like to speak a few words about our institution, the Shiksha Foundation. The year was 1920. When some of my forefathers thought that female education needed to be propagated much more actively than was the custom in those days. And we donated from our family 2 buildings in the heart of Bada Bazaar for the girl child to be educated there. That institution is still working. The latest addition to our bouquet of institutions has been the Calcutta Business School, which was started a few years ago on a 15-acre plot of land not very far away from IIM Calcutta.
Calcutta Business School offers an AICTE approved, autonomous, 2-year full-time residential program on postgraduate diploma in management, majoring in subjects like finance, marketing, IT, operations and human resource. But it's the unique cluster of courses that sets it apart. Interactive and intuitive games like management game and stock market simulation game. It also puts heavy emphasis on data handling and business analytics and uses databases and software like CMIE Prowess, MetaStock, R, and SAP.
Kolkata is the city of joy. It is the cultural capital of India, a city which has its soulful embodiment of culture, love, mystery, respect and enthusiasm. A city that upholds a perfect juxtaposition between the old world and the modern one. It has given us many Nobel laureates over the years. It has iconic institutes like the Calcutta University, the National Library, Presidency University, Bishwa Bharati, IIM Calcutta, and many such legendary institutes. Calcutta Business School's AICTE approved PGDM program is carrying forward this rich legacy of Kolkata.
Thank you. May I now request our Secretary General, Mrs. Brotati Bhattacharya, to set the tone of the webinar and say a few words, please.
Thank you, Ms. Ghosh. A very good evening to our very, very esteemed panelists, Dr. Ghosh and Mr. Ripon Mitra, our principal in charge, Dr. Daw, the moderator for the day, Dr. P.R. Bhattacharya, all my colleagues, and everyone who has joined, and of course, our very, very dear students. Well, today's topic, as you can all see, it's all about sourcing and sourcing in this 21st century. As you know, and especially what we have seen in this 1.5 years, we have seen that every model has changed. And, it is no longer, and we have actually seen this, that it is no longer the ownership of capabilities that matter, but rather a company's ability to control. And the most of it is critical capabilities. So we are basically looking for, critical capabilities, and whatever way you may source it. It may be within or it may be outsourced, but we need those capabilities to run your business. Whether it is value chain, which has to be, much more flexible and elastic. And whatever I'm saying, our two panelists would be elaborating on this. And I'm sure it is going to be very, very interesting discussion. Well, this is for people who are listening for the first time. Our group has crossed about 102 years, and it is always our endeavor to see that, we do things differently. And these webinars, which we have been having, is mainly to see that, things are explained in this way, and it is not always, within a classroom setup. And we have realized that through webinars, people learn a lot of things, and that is what we are also trying to do. Thank you so much for being with us. Over to you, Ms. Ghosh.
Thank you,
welcome
madam.
once again.
Thank you. Let us now proceed to the webinar, and let me have the privilege of introducing our today's panelists. Dr. R.S. Ghosh has a long and credible career. For 15 years, he worked as a profit head unit, and for the last 13 years, working in reputed business schools as a senior professor, director, dean. His core academic domain is operations management, project management, healthcare management, logistics, and supply chain management. He has received several prestigious awards, including Dr. APJ Kalam Award. Currently, he is the director of ISB&M, Kolkata. Rest, he will tell us himself. Mr. Ripon Mitra, National Capability Lead, Cipla Health Limited, is a Salesforce transformation leader. He has more than 16 years experience in business leadership across markets in East India and other Asian countries. He identifies the strengths and weaknesses of Salesforce, does strategic planning of channel sales, manpower distribution management, ensures end-to-end business development, and enables target achievement with exponential growth. He has digitized sales system process, and he manages a force of 125 team members through tracking and coaching. Welcome to the webinar, sir. Our moderator for the day is Dr. P.R. Bhattacharya of Calcutta Business School. He is the Associate Professor of Marketing. He also heads the Entrepreneurship Cell of Calcutta Business School and has over 20 years experience in academics. His teaching areas cover consumer behavior, sales and distribution management, retail management, creating and managing new ventures. Before I hand over this webinar to Dr. Bhattacharya, I would request our own person from the core committee, Mr. Saurabh Ghosh, advisor, Shikshatan Foundation, to say a few words. Has Mr. Ghosh joined?
I think he had written that he will not be able to join, as far as I know.
Ma'am, it's written there, Saurabh Ghosh. That's why I think.
That's why I just saw him actually.
He has joined.
I do
Okay,
not know,
okay.
because the name is there, Saurabh Ghosh. That's why.
Mr. Ghosh is muted, I believe. He's speaking, but he's muted.
Okay, perhaps he'll join us later. Now I request Dr. Bhattacharya to please take this forward. Good to you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Ghosh is there. Mr.
Yeah,
Ghosh,
that's
why
what-
don't
that's
you say
what.
a few words?
Is it
Yes,
really necessary?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, ঠিক আছে, একটু পরে. Anyway, today's webinar has been arranged by Calcutta Business School on key decisions in strategic sourcing. I, on behalf of Calcutta Business School, cordially welcome the panelists, Dr. R.S. Ghosh, Director, SBNM, Kolkata, Mr. Ripon Mitro, National Capability Lead, Cipla Health Limited, and our moderator from CBS, Professor P.R. Bhattacharya. I also greet Mrs. Brototi Bhattacharya, Secretary General of SF, Professor Shumon Don, and CBS team of faculty, Ms. Sudeshna Ghosh of CBS, all the students of CBS, and all others attending this webinar. In brief, today's topic is indeed a very pertinent one for manufacturing-based industries in these competitive times, where logistics from vendors' location to the retail outlet or to the customer point plays an important role in cutting costs and improving efficiency at every point, which gives the cutting edge to the business interest of every organization. The costs at every point have to be optimized through logistics, logical solutions involving handling, warehousing, transportation, storage, and so on, through the powerful kit of supply chain management at every stage. Without any more delay, I am really excited and anxious to hear the panelists, the experts, speak on this subject. Finally, I thank all the organizers and all those who have arranged this webinar today. So over to Ms. Ghosh.
Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Bhattacharya to take this webinar forward, please.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, SG madam and Ghosh sir, for your wonderful words to start with. Dr. Ghosh, Dr. Ghosh, am I
Yeah.
visible to you? Can you see me?
Yeah. Yes, you are visible and as
Yes.
well as audible.
Yeah. Welcome to this webinar on behalf of CBS. Mr. Mitro, welcome for this webinar particularly. See, as we know, this strategic sourcing, normally what we understand is it's of different methods, processes, right, which are there. It consists of different phases, right from assessment till the implementation stage, right? And in these different stages, there are different methods or sub processes, as we call it, which are involved into it. Now, I would like to request you to speak, or rather, give us some insight about those processes which you understand or which you have earned over your period of time. So, you experience, please. And then I'll come to Mr. Mitro after that, after this.
Okay.
Please, Dr. Ghosh.
Thank you, Professor Bhattacharya. So let me thanks to the Center of Excellence team of Calcutta Business Schools. I really appreciate their kind invitation. Thank you to Professor Brodri Bhattacharya, the Secretary General, and Mr. Saugata Ghosh and the other team members. So I also wish all the best to my young students of different business school who are watching this webinar and the faculty members. Okay, I got enough introduction, so I no need to more introduction. Okay, so I will take around 15-20 minutes because other panelists is also there. And if required, there should be more freehand questions, and everybody watch the session and you can later on give questions through moderator directly to chat box. So I'll share the screen.
Sunil, kindly give access to him, please.
My screen is visible?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So there are hardly 5-6 slides. So the topic is rightly you have identified. Today is the era of strategic sourcing as the new economic reform is there, the 21st century. So it could be key decisions in the 21st century or the current trend, whether pre-COVID, COVID or post-COVID. So let me say a few words here. First slide. So it contains the concept of sourcing and transforming strategic sourcing as an impact of globalization. You know, today the biggest threat today, the entire market is open. So we are at the almost the peak period of this open economy. So India has also followed. There is a direction, or we are also trying to reach 5 trillion economy by 2025-26. Let's keep hope for the best. In spite of the COVID pandemic, our trade is going on, and especially the two sectors. So where I expect more questions from all the attendees, that is logistics and healthcare, where the double-digit growth and India is in top 10 globally. So let us look the first phase actually. So there was a sourcing since when the Vasco da Gama came, the Portuguese people, long back story, 300 years more. Then the Dutch people came. Everywhere these people used to come. It is basically trading, bringing the goods from the western part to the Asia, we used to call the Far East. And later on, the East India Company came also. So it was a typical sourcing or importing. So the concept has observed in the various research paper. You can go through the Harvard's Business Review or many more. So there was an accelerating momentum. So accelerating market in the connected list, which includes the increase of customer demand. So this is prior to 1948-49, because if you go through the entire market statistics, 1947-48, the GATT form, the General Agreement of Tariff and Taxes, and probably 1948-49, the World Trade Organization. So everybody wants to be the part of this approach, the global trading, and they took the membership. So it was the first phase. There's new approach came. So we know there are many marketing professors are there, and it's a common. So 1950s onwards, the concept has changed. Prior to 1950s, what we used to observe, whatever the goods are available in the market, so the customers or the end user, they have no choice. They used to buy. Whether if you see the old automobile car, or if you see that the torch light earlier used to call the flashlight, or the raincoat old, it is available museum, some heritage property. So the new approach since 1960s as to increase the mobility of human resources. And there was another concept, that is creating a marketplace to increase a network of highly integrated organizations. So integration approach started because the market has changed, manufacturing centric to product centric to customer centric. So this is the phase one. So sourcing was there, and it has transformed into strategic gradually significantly. So what happened in 1980s, 1970s onwards, the globalization started all over the world. Of course, India, there are certain restrictions, we used to be the under Fair Act. There is many regulatory norms. but at increasingly first consumer-driven society. Of course, the society is consumer-driven. So there is a demand exceeds. So the industry, they became more agile and flexible. We know the meaning of agile. And today, those who have taken in operations and supply chain, or ISCOM as specialization or super specialization, they know today the agile manufacturing, it's the only weapon. So how the Tata Nano came, I don't want to make the favoring of any political party, but it was a promise by Sir Ratan Tata that at a specific time, they will deliver 1 lakh rupees car to the market. And the initial phase was West Bengal. There was certain incident happened, but they have taken the manufacturing because of the agility manufacturing or the agile manufacturing, the Auto India exhibition at Delhi. So the car has delivered only limited model, but the commitment was commitment. And the flexible supply chain, which we follow 1980s. Look here, Professor Ghosh, other advisor. So he has mentioned today. So there are 3 different phases of supply chain. We used to call as a supply chain specialist, that is initial supply chain, extended supply chain, and today we follow that ultimate supply chain. Digital supply chain is a part of ultimate supply chain. So 1980s, if you see, the many industry revolution took place. I will show one example just after 2 slides. Say Walmart. So anybody, if you ask any school children, any school kid, whether it pan-India, any state, whether it is Rajasthan, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, Jammu, Kashmir, Punjab, or Kerala, or even Arunachal Pradesh, the biggest retailer or retail outlet, Walmart. So Walmart, they have a unique proposition partnership with Procter & Gamble. So Walmart, they have almost 6,000 registered outlet, and it has been registered in NASDAQ US, and rest of the outlets are franchisee. So 70% goods being produced by Procter & Gamble exclusively for Walmart. So this is started 1980s. And in phase 2, another important things happened, that is transforming modern procurement system. So earlier we used to follow traditional purchase. Wherever required, the industry used to get it. There was no question of vendors evaluation, strategic partnership. There is no exclusivity part of agreement. So many mismatch happen. If you see one of the drawback, how that Indian PSU, the public sector units, as now almost is in volatile. It is almost in microscope level now. So after a few years, I doubt the PSU would be there or not. Okay, but this is could be one reason. And many Indian manufacturers, India is concerned, and it happened even in US, it happened even other emerging economy, Malaysia and Indonesia. So transforming modern procurement would be another challenge, and gradually it came to the sourcing and strategic sourcing. Coming to the phase 3, so this is nothing but today, those who have taken the data analytics or data science, even the supply chain, as a very common terminology, everybody like the word cloud computing. If you ask anybody who has taken computer science, BTech CS or BSc CS, cloud computing. So this is exactly how to fit, how to match the global tender. So the final phase express the expansion and introduction of capabilities of cloud computing in modern procurement activities. And this is the challenge in 21st century to achieve the best sourcing cost, that is called strategic sourcing. So this is one example I will show, the high cost of high cutting in automobile industry. It's easy because if I talk about pharmaceutical, those who are non-biological student, it may not be suitable for them. So everybody like, that is General Motors, everybody like the competitor of General Motors, that is called Volkswagen. Okay, it's a German manufacturer. So what happened? You know, there's American leading manufacturer. So General Motors, so their strength was supplier relationship, and they used to maintain integral approach and arm's length. During the time of questionnaire, I'll explain one model, that is Alan Eckert, Professor Lewis. In 1995-96, he has described the model, how to make hostile relationship, and it will give long-term benefit to an organization. So 1950s, The General Motors has followed that initial approach that is called arm's length supplier partnership. In 1999, there is a gentleman called Dr. Lopez. So many theories are available if you go through EBSCO or HBR or many more foreign journal. So Dr. Lopez has promoted as the group director worldwide for purchasing operation. So he took an unique process. So suddenly he has make some arrangement, and with his efficiency, 57 billion US dollar being allocated as global budget for sourcing. And he has used a tool called leverage strategies. So that tool has been patented, and he instituted aggressive competitive bidding strategy. If we talk today, we know the bidding. Those who are from industry, I am from industry, other panelists are from industry, many of the professors from industry, we know the bidding. But it was not a simple bidding. So there are some technique tools behind that. So aggressive competitive bidding strategies. Due to his aggressive approach on strategic sourcing decision, so the model was very famous. The company called that is boost in profitability. And it was the sole contribution of the Lopez theory, or Dr. Lopez brought the contribution. As a result, what happened? He got an opportunity in 1993. He left General Motors and he take a position with the Volkswagen and successfully introduced progressive procurement practices. Now, the questions. Are we all ready for strategic sourcing in the new economy? So let us first identify what the new economy wants. It's a modern economy, open economy. So everything is available everybody. So there are two threats. One threat is the global competition. Another threat, we have to mitigate the additional wages. So the traditional procurement decision will not be enough. So still it has been followed by the private industries. I'm not making any kind of public sector example, but the private industry. The traditional procurement decision will not be enough if you are trying to survive in strategic sourcing. So the new economy, the major challenge to sustain and survive in global competition. The second challenge, it could be a win-win situation when a buyer moves along with sourcing continuation. So that means there is
Thank you.
somebody
I would request, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Hello, please mute yourself.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Please carry.
Okay.
Please carry.
The second channel. So
Hello,
it could be
please mute yourself. Who is that? Please carry on. I'm saying.
okay. So second challenge, it could be a win-win situation when a buyer moves along with sourcing continuation. This is also, it could be challenge and as well as threat also, if you not control the continuation of sourcing from a single buyer. Will come later on during the time of question sessions. So it further increases dependency on supplier. So like the India, the biggest challenge, and you can say the threat, that fragmentation of ownership of supplier. If you see whether in my industry or Mr. Ripon Mitra industry or even this logistic industry, there are certain quality vendors, okay? So very limited vendors. So naturally it become a fragmented. So sort of monopolyness is there. So that could be controlled. And finally, in the new economy, there could be a risk. Yes, we call it is supply chain risk. We have to mitigate the risk. There could be a risk due to supplier dependency. If it is a single supplier or single source or a very limited supplier for the maximum value of business. So it may create turbulence in company. Say well-structured, what is the alternate? We must create a well-structured relation agreement, which could be designed to reward the supplier. So that is also lack in Indian system. Everything is available theoretically, but when it could be the chance of implementation or application, there are many threats are there. So that is a challenge for the new generation business graduates. So whenever tomorrow's or in future, they could be their CEO, or they could lead the modern India, great India, powerful India, they should be ready to apply, rewarding the performer. So through this the risk could be reduced. So this is a last example. Afterwards, one more slide. I will take just few minutes. So this is example. Look this slide very carefully. So we know the name of Procter and Gamble. Any branding products, whether it is FMCG or personal care, home care, it is there. And I have just mentioned few minutes back, okay, that in Walmart and P&G, they have one kind of bonding, and that we gives an example. They're marketing one elective subject that is called CRM, Customer Relationship Management. So 70% of the stores are being controlled by Procter and Gamble, and they design such a unique product. And if you see Walmart, although it is established in USA, but they have distributed across the globe. So look at this data. So Procter and Gamble has over 80,000 suppliers. They are on the cluster supplier. We called certified vendor or excellent vendor. That is the Japanese quality management policy worldwide. As P&G operates in 80 countries, okay, because of this open policy, and sells over 100 brands to international market. And somewhere Unilever, the another competitor, may not able to take even 20% market share of P&G. They are both the competitors, they have unique proposition. So somebody target rural market, somebody target urban market, but this is the P&G statistics. The vendors are excellent compared to Unilever and other FMCG competitors. So P&G maintains what the challenges they have faced and what was their success story. So Procter & Gamble maintains an efficient global sourcing to procure goods and services across its supply base worldwide. So they have a regional supplier. So every regional supplier, region means one state or one country. And so that they could able to make the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, like that. There is a major vendor, under one major vendor, a small micro vendor. So this is called the application of extended value chain. So Professor Porter has given the basic value chain. That is nothing but to keep cordial harmony, the relationship all cross function. And this is called extended value chain. The third, Procter & Gamble maintains efficient sourcing of standardized products. That is important. So all the vendors are being evaluated periodically, and their process has been standardized by the quality policy, the quality assurance department, and all the products, the materials are standardized, so which are readily available from a large number of suppliers. So without evaluations, the vendors cannot be benchmarked as certified or excellent vendor. And this is the slide. It is a continuous momentum. So we call this is sourcing continuum or sourcing continuation. So there are three models, so which cannot be described in a short span of time. If the question comes, I will try to give example. So the first model, it is called transactional model. The second model called relational model. The third is investment. So if we just go through, I'll take 2-3 minutes. The Professor Lewis Allen's expert. So there are 4 steps how to make long-term relationship with the vendors. So first is the trust. Second is the integration. Third is the investment. Fourth is the alignment. So it is nothing but similar to transactional model, relational model, and investment. Without investment means the vendors has to be considered as the member of the own team of any organization. And it is the tomorrow's success mantra to make effective sourcing decision, and it could be a key decision to survive in the open economy. So my preliminary presentation is over. 1 minute. I'll just.
Dr. Ghosh, thank you for your kind presentation, where you have said, you have expressed so many different points, starting from the era of Dutch 300 years back and today in the present scenario, how things are happening. Okay. And
yeah, my pleasure, Professor Bhattacharya.
And you know, and you have already spoken so many things. You know, I was trying to understand where from should I start or where should I end in this particular issue. Now, right from manufacturing centric to product centric to customers consumer centric, right? So the centricism has changed, right? Now, in this line, we'll come down to the questions a little bit later on. But meanwhile, let us hear from Mr. Ripon Mitra also,
Yeah.
who is an expert in this area as well, right? Right? Mr. Mitro, may I request you to please, may I invite you please to come and present your views on this topic, please. Mr. Ripon Mitro, please.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you all my seniors, teacher, because still I am a student and I feel this studentship in my life, I continue till my dead end, because the learning is everything. So every day, day by day, if you can learn something new, that will be better for us. Because in the current scenario, every day the environment has changed a lot. Okay, so and if you are in a very learning mode, then it would be a better for everybody. So thanks my teacher, all the dignitaries that here, and at the same time, happy welcome to all students, those who are in the online right now. Before going to the entire details, I like to share 2 to 3 things from my side. I don't have any prior experience of to share something in front of such dignitaries and such big people and all the students. Okay. So it's a great pleasure to share everything with all of you. One by one, I can share through my experience as I work with the Amul in Gujarat, and at the same time Future Group with their back-end integration with the private brands. The sourcing is most important in that case, and as well as the current scenario with the Cipla Health Limited. As a national capability lead based out of Mumbai. So before going to the entire details, I like to share one slide. Just give me a few minutes.
Yeah, Sunil, please. Sunil, please help Mr. Mitro. Sunil, please help Mr. Mitro.
So is it visible? My screen is visible.
Yes, yeah, it is visible.
Yes.
Please,
It
please
visible.
continue.
Yes, yes, it's visible. You can carry on. Please carry on.
So I just put it 1, 2, 3 information. This is the current scenario. Okay, just day before yesterday, Udan, they have one of the B2B e-commerce organization. They filed a complaint against the biscuit giant Parle biscuits. Okay, so on 27th of this month, the basic objection is that Parle is not ready to support them through their terms and conditions to supplying them directly. Okay, as you know, the Parle biscuits have a flagship brand called the Parle G, which is very, very widely available in each and every nukkar and gullies and each and every outlets, including the Pan Plus, right? So they have a very strong network. So they don't want to do this kind of B2B kind of e-commerce tie-up with the very cheap discount and all with the Uran and some other big giant like JioMart. Okay. So this is the current scenario. So that's why the Uran has filed a case against them. And they said that if you are not giving us, then we are going to do some legal action against you. So this is another information. At the same time, if I share my next slide, there is another information which is currently you can see from anywhere. It is regarding the China. So as you know, currently China is totally dark. So why China is totally dark? It's just because of they stop their power plant because they don't have any raw materials. Okay. Basically, they are getting these raw materials from Australia. And as you know, Australia, India, Japan, and America, 4 together become a group, a new group. Though historical 17 years back, they started this journey. And Mr. Modi, his recent visit in America, he also meet all these 4 big people and discussing about our ocean. And he mentioned over there categorically, if you gone through that piece, that use the ocean, don't abuse. Okay, so it's a great word. Use the ocean, don't abuse. So there is a big message for the global people to the United Nations also. the way China is currently doing their activity, so that is not accepted. And why I'm telling this thing, this is all related to the strategic sourcing. Why? As all of you are students in your class, you know, you go through your management science, you will go through your operation management, you have done lots of PCPM sum, you have done lots of transportation sum also. So I just going to refer that one sum like transportation. As you know, the transportation sum giving you some objectives through which you can decide where your plant should be located, where your sourcing should be located, and how you can get the right kind of product with the minimum cost. As Professor Ghosh and Ms. Bhattacharya also shared previously, right sourcing is the most important part. So in this discussions, I thought these are the two most important points which is relevant in current scenario. One is the Udaan, Geomart and Parle clash, and at the same time the China's power cuts. Okay, so why I'm telling you, this is again all related to the sourcing. So historically, China had a entire setup of getting coal from Australia. Now Australia, they have anti-dumping policy. China has improved, and that's why Australia is not putting their coal to China, and the China's all thermal power going to shut, and they are not making any business right now. So it's a great achievement in the other side for country like India. So if you see the share market also today or last 1 or 2 days, you will find the core industry like steel and iron, the share is going up because the iron basic core industry lies with eastern part. Okay, so that's why this is the current scenario, and it's all related to the sourcing. So this is all about. If I again highlight this, my previous point like FMCG feedback. So Parle and another company called GCMMF, where I work, like Amul. So there also they maintain a very high level of integration, backward integration of supply chain and sourcing. And that's why Amul butter is Amul butter. Nobody can copy it. Okay, and that's why they made a leadership from very fast. And if you can, I can say in coming day also Amul maintain their dignity into the market because they have a very strong backward integration and sourcing. So if any organization, if they have a very strong sourcing methodology or integration, then they will be a great power, superpower, maintaining the all threats in the current scenario. So this is the historical information, Parle and Amul, what they are doing with the B2B and current sourcing methodology. At the same time, the Geomart and the Udaan and that kind of B2B organizations and other organizations like Flipkart, Amazon, how they're impacting us. So that is our discussion points, and I like to share that part in my discussion.
Okay, Mr. Mitro, just to share with you, from Parle to Amul to Geomart and then Udaan,
yes,
you know, you have said that they have transcended, right? In this, but in the process remains the same. But my question is, because I am not very much aware about this, so I would always like to learn about this, right? Now, how does strategic sourcing come into this place? Or how do you justify this part? In all these cases, these are all conglomerates, right? How do you justify strategic sourcing in these different companies? As you said in Amul, or in say Parle, or in Geomart, because they are three different categories, right? One is a services sector, one is a typically dairy organization, the other one is typically into confectionery part, right? So the supply chain mechanism will not be similar, probably, right?
Right.
So how do you explain? If you can explain that, I think our students can understand a little bit better.
Thank you,
Please.
sir. Thank you. Before going to the entire details, I like to share my experience in Amul. When I was in Gujarat, I was in head office, and I worked with closely with Mr. Sodhi, Mr. R.S. Sodhi. He's the current managing director. So, and I get chance to meet Mr. Varghese Kurian also. And I roam across the Gujarat village, okay, the way the economy has developed there and the rural economy especially. So the most important part is that one is the baseline, historical strategic sourcing, and in the current strategic sourcing, right? So Amul is a historical role model where they, the owner of Amul organization is the villagers, those who have a cow, as you know, it's a cooperative, right? Now, from there, they are collecting the milk in a particular chilling center, that is a district block office kind of thing. From there, within the next 4 hours, they shifting this milk to the respective factory. And when these things are collected in factory, and only we finished product can get it. Besides this, there is no manual intervention. Now, the kind of setup, the kind of strategic setup they have made, starting from the collection center to finished product, that is amazing. And that is the strength of that organization. Similar with the Parle, okay, how the Parle strength is their sugar. As you know, in UP and Maharashtra, the sugar field highly occupied by the Parle group. So that's why they have integrated themselves in the backward integration, sourcing the raw materials. So that is a strategic decision from Amul as well as Parle. They strengthen their backward to strengthen their business in the front end. Okay, so this is the historical example which I can share with you. And with that strength, they are fighting with the current scenario because they have the power, they have the strength. Now come to the modern scenario. In a modern scenario, in a virtual world, as we are sitting at here in the virtual world. So in my current job role also in the last 3 months, I developed as a national capability manager. So where my objective is to how we adopt with the scenario.
Yeah,
and
students
how
also ask this question as well. How do you control the current scenario? That is a question the students have asked. So it will be nice if you can answer this question as well.
Thank you. So in this current scenario, everything is virtual, and the technology has given a excellent opportunity to us to communicate, to get everything in our doorstep, in our day-to-day life. Now it's an indispensable thing in our life. Now this opportunity availed by many organizations, many startups. If I name one of startup in Bangalore, that is called Ninja Cart. If you have heard about this, okay. So what they are doing the strategic sourcing from different villagers. The raw materials is the basic fresh vegetables, and through that they organize a billion organization within a 2 to 3 years. The young champ, 5 people group. So it's a success story. At the same time, if we come to the organized retail like JioMart and the other Uran and all, so what they are doing historically, they are in a B2B business. Okay, as you know, B2B means in our distribution channel, the production unit to CFA, CNF, a hub, and then the super stockist, distributor, retailer, wholesaler. Okay, so that is a channel, and they cut it down that channel and they accumulate the profit and they are giving service to the direct consumer. Right now, the conflicts happen between the big organization, big FMCG organization, and the small FMCG organization. That's why you can see those who are newly started, the small organization, they are getting much more benefit with this technology like Udan, JioMart and all. But those who are the big organizations like HUL, Procter & Gamble, or Amul, or Parle, or Britannia, they are also getting their business also booming like anything in e-commerce. But they are not still convinced and accepted this thing if we are moving to a virtual mode, because the traditional business, the traditional supply chain network is still alive over there and they are very, very strong on it. So there is a conflict in between.
Okay, I would like to come to Dr. Ghosh. We are also have the time constraint. We'll have some more questions because there are so many questions from the students, and I will try to address these questions. Okay.
Professor Bhattacharya, I have one request. If his presentation is over, can you stop the slide sharing?
Yeah, sure. Definitely, I'll do. Definitely, no issues. Surely. Ms. Mitra, if you can kindly
Yes.
Take out of this.
Is it okay?
I think your screen is still visible. Anyway, that's okay. Dr. Ghosh, a question. How do you think that we can use the strategic sourcing in services industries like, say, FedEx, Goti, or the like, right? Students have asked this question because there are so many other ones, right? FedEx, Goti, Blue Dart, and all of them, right? Which we know are the big names, right? So how do you think of using this strategic sourcing in those services sector?
Okay. Fine. Good questions. I don't know who has asked the name of the student. I must appreciate.
She is Devolina.
Devolina. Okay, Devolina. Good evening and good questions you have asked. So I will just take quickly the logistics sectors and healthcare, because if you talk today, since last 18, 19 months, during this COVID pandemic crisis, the logistics sectors carries that double-digit growth, 14% plus, if I'm not wrong, India is concerned. And of course, healthcare is a boom now. So Gati is one of the leading Indian company. So the company has formed by Mr. Mahendra Agarwal, 1989. So it was earlier the company, their family business, that is Transport Corporation India, TCI. So he has started and made many experiences. Okay, Gati Express, a journey overnight from Mumbai to Calcutta and Calcutta to Mumbai by non-stop wagon service, but it was not practically possible. But today the Gati, they followed, that is online services, and they have two models. One is Express Cargo and another is called Premium Express Cargo. So they have their integrated vendor approach model, what Mr. Mitra said, that is forward and backward integration of supply chain. So they have their own server. So earlier they used to get the facilities from Satyam Infosys, but now they have own server. They have own fleet of vehicles, we call the transport management system. So it is easy to track the consignment. And they have the quickest mode of transport. Okay, so like that, it is basically the recovery cost arrangement. Suppose Gati has lifted one truck or carrier from Ahmedabad and it will come next day to Mumbai. The same truck will be reloaded and again it will go to the out of Octroi. The point is very famous called Aslali. It is beyond Octroi area. So this is one approach Gati has followed. Internationally also, they have tied up with one Japanese company. Okay, and they have just diluted 7% stake to that company. So they have entered the Japan partly. This is one successful of Gati. Okay, and their fleet, apart from fleet of vehicles, they followed the cloud computing, which I have mentioned in my slide.
Okay.
Coming to another company, that is FedEx. Yeah, what you said. So FedEx, if you see, FedEx has a tie-up, that is their integral approach system. So FedEx follows all the software from IBM, their computer, their hardware, everything, and their services from IBM. So this is another model like partnership, that is what I said, that is Walmart and Procter & Gamble. So, and if, of course, they have their own carrier means that is that aircraft, logistic cargo, we can say, one country to another. They have a separate arrangement with the Boeing. Boeing is the company. So what exactly had started recently, Blue Dart, but FedEx has started this concept 10 years back and they are successfully. That is the reason FedEx, the cost of services, bit expensive, but they are very famous on-time delivery and accuracy. Just coming to healthcare. So the healthcare industry, pharma, I will give options to Mr. Ripan Mitra, he can say. I can talk about the other rest of non-pharma, that is hospitals. So India, prior to the COVID pandemic, India was number 14 medical tourism, because people used to come out of India for their medical facilities and it was cheaper compared to the other developed and emerging economy. And in medical system, the healthcare industry, they have also qualified vendors. You know, recently there was the incident of the vaccine. Okay, not in West Bengal, the different parts. So there are paramedical staffs and facilities. So there are identified vendors. There are other essential services, okay, like oxygen, the nitrogen, and mainly to maintain the environment, they have dedicated air handling systems. So these are the areas, the healthcare industries, India, they are also capable to maintain their own quality. And we are in Asia, we are in number 4th now, okay. So anything there, Mr. Professor Bhattacharya? You're mute. You have to unmute, Professor Bhattacharya.
Sorry. Thank you, Professor Ghosh. Thank you, Dr. Ghosh, for this. Mr. Mitra, I'd like to go to Mr. Mitra for a question now, asked by one of my students, Subhankar Sanyal. He says, Sir, how the students can make themselves compatible to the national capability using technology. How the students can make themselves compatible to the national capability using technology. If you kindly address this question, please, Mr. Mitro.
So, capability, it's a very old discussion, okay, old point. Okay. Now, what happened? The adaptability is most important right now because the things are changing every moment. Okay. So, if you are a good learner and if you are a very strong adaptability, okay, then you can adopt yourself in any scenario. And I can give my example also. I being a pure sales guy, having a 16 years of sales experience and moving to a technology within the last 3 months. And I developed one application. You can see in my backside, there is one book, and behind that it's written the classmate. Okay. So I just launched 10th of this month, one application called Classmate. This application basically are learning tools. Okay. So what is that? The current scenario, it's never allow us to give a classroom kind of discussions and at the same time a gathering and at the same time to market work together, making a group or kind of huddle. Okay. So how we can overcome with this and how can we develop our people capability? Now, what happened? Lots of brainstorming and discussions was happen. So after that, we arrived in a particular point. Yes, if we can do some virtual kind of things, like application through which we can integrate everything from their entire life, starting from the early morning to late evening, and all the PMS activity, then their HR kind of activity, like even a digitization process like order taking, geotagging, and at the same time the all data related information whenever they are going to enter into the particular outlet for taking any order, they have to have a detailed information about that particular outlet in their mobile phone. So how much quantity they have taken, and it is coming as a pop-up with the current technology, right? So my suggestion to the entire students who have asking me this question, okay, if you have a little bit knowledge about the technology like IT, and at the same time you have a eagerness to learn something new, then it will be a great thing. Another point is that data analytics is most important right now because everybody is in virtual mode and we are analyzing people from backend, whether it is in Google, whether it is any algorithm. Okay, so the AI is most important thing. So if you can do side by side one crash course on one small that kind of things, your regular code, then it would be a great advantage for them. So because everything is technology based right now, so I feel the students should have equipped themselves in that line.
At the same time, they are also concerned because the question comes there. They're also concerned about the employability factor.
Can I start? Then I'll hand over to Mr. Mitra.
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Because it is easy for me because I was in the other side where you are exactly. I used to take students from SIS Navi Mumbai. It was
Right.
NB accredited institution.
Right.
And ITM Business School. Later on, my first journey was ITM Business School as PGDM chairman. That I have already introduced. Okay. So what happened last decade or 12, 13 years back, whenever the corporate used to visit, so my address to all students, fraternity and their mentors. So there was a trend, if the schools hold certain catchy benchmarking, top rank B school, leading B schools. So by name itself, excellent students and average student used to get job. Okay, what I did. But now for last 3-4 years, all the institutions, means corporate used to visit the institutions and they select the best. Now there is a good song by what you call my favorite singer, Ravijit Bhattacharya. I am the best, I am the best, I am the best. You have to be the best in terms of all parameters. The first criteria, what corporate used to look, my friends are there, they used to have a chat. So yesterday I had a talk with one corporate. I have to offer my current first year batch for summer internship. We have a rigorous 5 months summer internship in ASBIM. So this is one of the successful mantra. They said first questions, okay, we will make special aptitude cells of flexibility. How flexible you are? They don't need any kind of a rigid character. Flexible, your skills, there are 4 skills are there. Communication becomes general. So apart from communication, your behavioral skill, interpersonal skills, negotiable skill. And I think Mr. Mitro is agreed. Then you must have certain domain knowledge, like jack of all trade. You have all subject what Mr. Mitra has mentioned. So from the trimester 1 or semester, whatever program are you, we follow trimester. I hope CBS also have trimester. So you have a basic IT, extension part of IT for managers 1 and 2, advanced model of Excel, and most important, the 4 principles in data science: artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning, and deep learning. The time you will be the summer internship, this will be your acid test criteria, and never ever to make overnight king or queen. It takes times, acquisition base, and then your career will be upliftment. Yeah, I am handing over to Mr. Mitra if you want to add something about the employability.
Yes. Thank you. You nicely.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. No, I said, well, it is absolutely fantastic that Dr. Ghosh has already explained this part. Now, I have a question to Mr. Mitru and Mr. Ghosh, Dr. Ghosh both.
Okay.
What are the, according to both of you, first Mr. Mitru and then Dr. Ghosh, what are the important criterion for strategic sourcing? In your words, what are the important criterion for strategic sourcing? So if you take time, I'll ask Mr. Mitru first to answer these questions, then you can chip in, or you can add on to the words what.
Yeah, Mr. Mitra, you start, later on I will join.
Can you repeat the question again?
What are the important criterion for strategic sourcing? Today we see this strategic sourcing is a big buzzword, right? Or it is taking a different new shape. What are the important criteria there?
As at the initial presentation, Dr. Ghosh already shared, the cost minimization is the first factor, and historically it is accepted and approved also. Okay, so that is one part. Now the things has changed. So the lots of negotiation and lots of things are happening in the front end also. Now, if you want to be relevant in your current scenario, then you have to have a very strong strategic sourcing. So if you don't have that kind of strategic sourcing in your back end, then you will never be succeeding in front end also. So this is most important thing. There is no one line or one word on this. Okay, it's depending on the scenario, industry, organization, and at the same time the demography where you are. Basically, if you are in Manipur, or if you are in Kohima, or in Teju rowing, or extreme part of Arunachal, okay. So there is the logistics supports and requirements and strategic sourcing meaning is different. But if you are in Kolkata or Bangalore or Delhi or Mumbai, then it's a different ballgame altogether. So it's not a one-liner answer. It depends on the industry, demography, scenario, situation, and what you are thinking and what kind of business you are doing. So that's all.
Okay.
I got a question here. Can I ask?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure,
sir.
sure.
Now, point is regarding the strategic sourcing, as you said, but with the pandemic coming in, there has been a concept of local for local instead of going global. So what is your take on that? And thereafter, being interested in risk management, I would like to ask Dr. Ghosh about how the mitigation of risk in terms of strategic sourcing, or how do you mitigate that risk?
Okay. The first question is your vocal on local. Am I right, sir?
Local for local.
Vocal for local. Yeah, it was a motivation tonic given by our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Damodar Modi. Okay, just to make some stimulation to the local manufacturer, make it India. Quite attempt was there. See, unfortunately, what happened, and all are adult here. So last 35 years, Indian manufacturing sector had drastically declined. There are so many reasons, some factors, internal, external. It was easy to get semi-finished products, and it is make assembly line India because of the cheapest labor, demanding customer and market. so we can reduce the gross selling price. So the cost mitigation. But now there was better than net level, so that the mantra came. There are certain strategies taken by, instead now this we call, this is Niti Aayog. Earlier it used to call the Planning Commission. But again, there are very threads of the bureaucracy. There are so many projects are coming during COVID pandemic. Exactly, there is the startup. I organized my last institution 2 years back, Universal Business School, and here also we are in the process. So many startup prototype projects has been submitted in the Niti Aayog, but the evaluation panel changes very, very faster due to certain unknown reason. So this we have to consider. So this is a lacuna. But there are tendency, the new youngster, instead of working under somebody's control or in organization, let I or we could be the entrepreneur. So we are just waiting for certain incentive policy by the government. Hope it will come soon. Coming the mitigation of risk, yes. I'm talking with the permission of Mr. Ripan Mitra, because both we are from the same field. In pharma, there are earlier 3 types of market. What is called non-regulated, semi-regulated, regulated. Currently, there are 2 types of market: raw market, that is emerging market, and regulated market. Now, part of healthcare products are even the personal care or home care product like Procter and Gamble. They are try to themselves in the market like Singapore or even Turkey, okay, or even the western part of European Union. So the vendors has to be match certain criteria. Okay, it may not be like Six Sigma, but certain criteria of the quality services or the quality supply. They count according to the vendors benchmarking. It is easy for what you call the due diligence, surveillance. They get the feedback report. So India, this concept has not been taken, and I hope there are so many drives, webinars, the government policy, so that risk will be mitigated.
When you say India, that concept has not been taken, do you also mean that Tatas they have not done this concept?
There is Tata is the only company, sir. If you just, I'm just referring 5 names: Tata, Reliance, Bajaj, ITC, and Hinduja. The Tata is the only group referred as Fortune category organization. Fortune means they follow forever. The best practices is all kind of like talent acquisition, recruitment, training and development, promotions. Even the person wants to leave, there are 720-degree feedback mechanism. It's been considered Tata. What about others? ITC, they pay high, but it's a blue chip organizations. That is the reason.
I'm talking about the criteria for strategic sourcing. I think that you answered.
No, strategic sourcing, I have just taken from Mr. Mitra. In between you raised the hand, so I have clarified 2 questions.
I think let us we have got this point.
Another 1 minute. Another just I needed his advice, Dr. Ranjan Ghosh, regarding the mitigation of risk.
Yes, sir.
How slide that was very important. One slide regarding mitigation of risk.
Yeah.
So how are how do you take on that? How do you mitigate the risk?
So that here is the risk management system is varies from sector to sector. For an example, sir, automobile sector, for 4-wheeler automobiles, there is one strategy. 2-wheeler, another strategy. Yeah. Okay, so assessment of vendor also requires certain criteria. Assessment of vendor. What criteria you follow for vendor assessment? Whether you do regular review or periodic review. Some company, it is basically also, I'm not giving blame to one side. It is a part of that. Okay. If I make too much of quality, the cost price will also high. So the affordability criteria should be there.
Okay. I think it was a very nice discussion, but because of time constraint, I cannot take it further.
Okay, Professor Bhattacharya. Next question, you please come.
So yeah, I think we've already got all the questions to be answered. We have already got all the questions to be answered because it all came in a discussion. Right. I would now request, thanks to both Mr. Mitro and Dr. Ghosh for your, such eloquent answers and, citations and light on this difficult topic or whatever in this topic. Right. I request my student Ritu Kumari to kindly present the key takeaways from this session. Please, Ritu, please.
I have one small request before
please.
Concluding. If
No,
is
we are
there
not
any
concluding.
question? Is any questions pending from student side?
No, it's all taken care of. All taken care
I hope the students are happy
Yes.
about their employability. So don't get upset कि placement नहीं हो रहा है. Sorry to use the Hindi local language. So vocal and local, like say Sengupta sir what said. Everybody will be placed. It's a matter of time. The moment you produce your skills and you have to present yourself.
Right.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
And thank you, Sengupta sir, for your kind questions. Yeah.
Okay. I now request Ritu Kumari, please. Ritu,
Yes,
please
sir.
come, please. Please just tell us the key takeaways from the session today.
So my screen is visible.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
it is visible.
A very good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank for giving me the opportunity to speak. We had a great session on the topic strategic sourcing, key decision in 21st century, where we had learned so many things. But I would like to give some points which I jotted down during the sessions. The first point is which was given by the Ranjan Ghosh, concept of sourcing and transformation, strategic sourcing, which has impacted our globalization, where he explained the three phases, and he also gave the example of the Walmart. Secondly, he told the strategic sourcing in the new economy, where Sir told that the traditional procurement decision is not enough in this new economy, and about the mitigation of risk, and then how to make strong relation with the vendors, as it depends according to the regions, demographics, company wise. And in the fourth, which was told by Ripon Mitra sir, he gave the information about the sourcing, like the examples of Parley, Udan, Geo, China power crisis, how to use the right sourcing, then about the Amul historical example, how they source their raw material, and in current scenario, everything has turned into virtual. We get things on our doorstep, where he also gave the example of one of the new startup in Bangalore. Then about the small business, that how the small business is getting benefited because of this Udan, but the big company is still lacking, as they still use the traditional approach. So these were the some of the key takeaways which I jotted down during the session, and it would definitely help us in our future. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think, we have almost come to the fag end of this session, wherein we have learned. When I first joined, I had not a very little idea about how to use this particular term, strategic sourcing. And now I think I have learned something out of this session. I'm thankful to everyone, and I request Mrs. Akanksha Raj to kindly give a vote of thanks. Akanksha is our student again for second year. Akanksha, will you please?
Yes, sir. So a very pleasant evening to all of you. I am Akanksha, second year student at Calcutta Business School. It is an immense pleasure to see that this event was graced by two eminent personalities with such high stature. Your leadership and accomplishments are an inspiration to all of us. We learned a lot from this session, and I'm very sure that all my friends would have grabbed all the good points. I would like to take the privilege to thank Specialisation Foundation for always giving us the best opportunity by organizing such events. With a deep sense of gratitude, I would like to extend my thanks to our moderator, Dr. Pinaki Ranjan Bhattacharya sir, for being the catalyst of today's session, which made it so interactive. Moreover, I would like to put my heartiest thanks to our principal sir and all the professors for their untiring efforts. Last but not the least, a big thank to all the students and viewers for for their active support throughout the session, which was a source of encouragement. Thank you so much, sir, and everyone for joining this webinar. I hope that we meet again, perhaps in a physical mode, to learn more and more from both of you, and wish you that you stay healthy and safe in this tough time. Have a great day, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akanksha. God bless you all.
Thank you.
All the
I think-
students.
Thank you. Namaskar. I think namaskar to all of you. Thank you. So we part now, but with more knowledge to come in the next days, next time. Okay. Thank you. Thanks to you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Mitra, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Akanksha,
thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mitra also.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Sunil? 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 Sunil?
হ্যালো, হ্যাঁ স্যার। আপনি দিয়ে দিন। তুমি এটা ইয়ে করবে, আমার অ্যাডমিশন মেলটাকে আমি